Okay, I don't know if Mr. Clare knows, that's who's watching, by the way. That is just going to be a celebrity on YouTube. So maybe if you watch this video, see if he knows what's going on if you talk to him about YouTube. Anyway, so now we're talking about a very simple, straightforward subject. So if you see this, you're thinking, yes, I'm going to get some marks here. So you've got a 3D shape, so it's a square-based pyramid, and it's asking for faces, edges, or vertices. So I just wanted to get you to understand what those are. So faces, okay, are the actual faces, the planes here that you can physically touch. So if this was an actual shape, I've got one knocking around. So I've got this here, okay, this cuboid. A face is literally the things I can put my hands on. So that is a face, the bottom's a face, that's a face. They're faces, okay? So they're the shapes you can see, if I'm honest. So you've got 4 triangles and a square, so there's 5 faces on that shape, okay? An edge is not a corner, which we call a vertices or vertex. This is an edge, okay, like a knife's edge. Okay, it's a long piece there where 2 faces meet, so that is an edge. Okay, so you've got 1, cross them off as well, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. How many lines you can see. And if you did ask for vertices, or so say how many vertices are there, you'd count where all the lines connect. Okay. Nice and straightforward. You definitely, like, if you see that, you're thinking, yes, I can get these marks. So think a knife's edge. If you wouldn't do this. If you run your hand along an edge, it's all the way along, and a face is something you can put your hand on. Like this question, if you've just done 39 times 298, you do not read questions. That's all I can tell you. Read the question. So Mel drives a bus for 39 weeks a year. Every week, on average, she does 298 miles. So if she's got 1 week, she'll do nearly 200 miles. She does 2 weeks, she does 2 lots of that, so that'll be 2 lots of 300. So we know we need to multiply these two together. But it says work out an estimate for the total number. So instead of using 39 weeks, which is slightly awkward, we could do 40 weeks. That's rounded to one significant figure. Instead of 298 miles, well, it's much easier to deal with 300. Estimation is a skill that people need to do to be able to figure out things quickly. Now, because we've only got 2 digits, 3 and 4, they're really easy to work out, because 3 times 4 is 12. So 3 times 40 would actually be 120, and 40 times 30 would be 1,200. So 40 times 300 would be that. So that's me just explaining kind of how they build up. But if you look at it, you've got 3 zeros in the calculation, and I've got 3 zeros on the end. Okay, if you spent 10 minutes or whatever, 5 minutes doing a calculation, you didn't read the question. Estimation, round it to one single figure. Okay, is our answer an underestimate or overestimate? So it's asking you, did you round your numbers up or down? Well, we rounded our numbers up, so our answer's too big. So it's an overestimate. You must write down one of those. Okay, there's one student or a couple of students that have given an explanation without choosing. So it's an overestimate as I rounded up. That's clear enough. I chose and I told them why. Yeah, so everything got bigger. Okay. Okay, right. This one. Well, the maths team, I think teachers in general, are surprised to see this. You know, it's been on loads of assessments. So we thought when they changed the exams that this stuff like this would go, but it hasn't. It's still here. So we've got information. It doesn't tell us what type of graph to draw. That's kind of the new sort of idea where you have to figure out what you're going to need to draw for this. And we have to construct or draw a suitable diagram for this information. Now, a suitable diagram for 2 sets of information where the numbers are quite low is bar charts. Is a bar chart, so it's called a dual bar chart. Okay, so with a dual bar chart, you can have 2 bars for guitar, 1 for boys, 1 for girls, and so on. Okay. Now, down the bottom, what I need to do is mark out where I'm going to do it. So I'm going to have guitar here. Okay, I'm going to have 2 bars here. So I'm just going to mark that out. Okay, I'm going to have violin here. Okay, the thing they're looking for on this one, it's not the difficulty of drawing bars. I've put keywords. I'm addicted to keywords at the moment. Keyboards. And then we've got recorder. It's about labelling. So these are the instruments. So if you're not sure about it, look on the table, it'll tell you that. So instruments. Okay, and I'm just going to put my label there, so they're the instruments. I really should be using a pencil, but... So I've labelled the information really poorly, some of yours are going to look much more nicer than mine, and instruments there. Okay, and then when you're doing a bar chart, okay, the key word that you have to remember is frequency. That's how many are in each group. So I'm going to write frequency for this. Okay, and that's just how far the bars are going to go up. So the maximum number is 6. So no bar's going to go higher than 6. So I'm going to start at 0 and just add my scale on. Don't mind if you do it this way around. Or the numbers going normally. Okay, I've just done like that because it's easy for me. So I've got a bar for boys, a bar for girls. So I'll just do a little key. I'm going to put boys and girls. Boys I'll shade in. Girls I'll leave blank. Okay, so boys guitar is 6. So I'm just going to rush this now. You'll take much more care than this, okay, because you really want to make sure you get these easy marks. It's 4 marks for this. That's like 5%. It's a lot. As long as I've got the information, obviously you're using a pencil. The exams, when you see them, like the proper exams, are a little bit. All the background information is a little bit fainter, and they're printed much nicer. So anything you draw on is really obvious. So you don't have to like worry if they're going to see your bars or whatever. What's the next one? 3. So I'm just 2. And last one, 1, 3. Okay, so that's it. I've got all my marks. I've labelled all the axes. The axes have got numbers on going for the frequency. Each bar tells which group it is. I've got a key. That's easy, yeah? That's 4 marks, nice and straightforward. It's going to take you 4 minutes or more, but it's worth that time, definitely, because you're not going to be getting questions like that near the back. Right, probability again. Probability is a fraction, so I'm going for fractions. So one of the students is chosen at random, so they're going to pick a kid out of this group. What's the probability that the student's favourite instrument, in bold, is not the recorder? There are 4 people that like the recorder. If you look at the top of the table, top of the information there, it says there are 24 students. So you don't have to count everything up. You know it's out of 24. Okay? 4 people like it. That must mean 20 people don't like it. So I'm going to simplify, but I don't think you have to. Because you can get 1 mark for the 24 and 1 mark for that. It doesn't ask you to simplify your answer, but I'm just addicted, so I'm doing it. Okay. Standard multiplication. So no decimals or anything, but it's 2-digit and a 3-digit. Okay, this is technically one of the things you had to learn before you left primary school. So I'm hoping it's something you can get. So I'm going to do my way, or the traditional way, and the snowballing way, lattice method, or Chinese grid method. It just depends who's taught you what they called it. Diagonals go up, otherwise you'll make a mistake. So I'm going to do this one first. So 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 7 is 28, carry 2. 4 times 1 is 4, add the 2 is 6. Now we're going to times by or multiply by 30. When you multiply by 30, you end up with a 0, so we put that first. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 7 is 21, carry 2. 3 times 1 is 3, add the 2 is 5. Now we add. All multiplication is multiply then add your results. So 0 and 8 is 8. 8 and 6 is 14, carry 1. 6, 1 and 1 is 8, and 5, do not include that, is by itself. So for this method, 5, 8, 4, 8. This method, easy to do once you've drawn it, but hard to draw. That's why I don't like it. This method, I like this way. You don't have to draw anything. Okay, but people always make this mistake. They always leave it out. So people stopped using this technique and they went to stuff like this. However, there we go. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. 7 times 3 is 21, 7 times 4 is 28, 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times 4 is 4. You can see in the other boxes I put zeros for the 10s because I didn't have any, but you can leave them blank. I've got 8 on this column down here. I've got 6 and 8 this way, so that's 14. So I'll put the unit down, the 4 down, and put the 1 into there. 4 add 2 add 1 is 8. 0 add 3 add 2 is 5, and 0 by itself, well, there's nothing there, I don't need it, so I just don't need that. So you read it this way. So again, 5, 8, 4, 8. Both give the same solution, so it's not a concern to me. That's 3 marks. Took me a minute or so. Okay, be confident multiplying. If you're not, learn it. It's involved in the non-calculator all the time. I've done it 3 times at least already. Okay. Right then, question 15. So the questions are getting a bit wordy, so I need to read them carefully. There are 360 golf balls in a bucket. There are 60 yellow golf balls, 50 orange golf balls, and 40 pink golf balls. The rest of the golf balls are white. What fraction of the golf balls are white? Simplify this where possible. So we know there's 360. We can figure out how many of these are all together. So we can do 60 add 40 first, because that's easy, because that gives you 100. Then 100 add 50 is 150. You can just have them in a big column like this and add it that way. But I was just trying to show you how you can partition and do that. So 150 balls is what these make up. So if I take that away from 360, I can figure out how many white balls I've got. So 0 take away 0 is that. 6 take away 5 is 1. 3 take away 1 is 2. So there are 210 white balls. What fraction? So it's out of 360, so that always goes on the base. And 210 on top. And now we've got to simplify this down. So you could either think of what number goes into both top and bottom, the highest common factor, or you can start to break it down. So I'm going to break it down. So I'm going to get rid of these zeros. So now I've got 21 over 36. They're not even, so I can't halve them. So now I've got to think about what times table, what factor is going to both. The easy thing to do is think about 21. Okay, so in 21, it's in the one, you've obviously got 1 and 21 to make it. 2 doesn't fit. 3 does, it's 3 times 7. 4 doesn't go into it, 5 doesn't, and so on. 6 doesn't. So these are all the numbers that fit into 21. So what we need to do is start with the biggest number and think about 36. So does 21 go into 36? No, it doesn't. Does 7 go into 36? No. Does 3 go into 36? Yes, it does. 3 goes into 36 12 times. And 3 goes into 21 7 times. So it's 7 out of 12. Okay, 7 over 12. So this bit was 2 marks and the last bit was 1 mark for simplifying. So if you can get to 210 out of 360, you've got 2 marks. If you can simplify, you get the extra 1. So I think that's why in the previous questions, simplify wasn't needed, because we had to do it here. There was a part of the question. Right, question 16. Here are the ages in years of 20 footballers. Wayne drew a stem and leaf diagram to show this information. Write down 2 things that's wrong with this diagram. So I'm going to start with the information of 20. So I'm just going to count if there's 20 people in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So there's only 19 people in this diagram. So somebody's been missed off. Okay. So you can either write down there's only 19 people in the stem leaf diagram, or you can figure out which one's missing. If you I can see it from here. I can see that there's only 1 9 with the 2. So they've missed off one of the 29s. So 29 was missed out. So that's one mistake. 29 was missed out. Or you could say only 19 people in the diagram. So that's just putting stuff in the diagram incorrectly. And now what you've got to do is look for a technical fault, like an actual fault. So that's what I'm going to do. So just think about what you need for a stem leaf diagram. It needs a key. So it's got a key. It needs all the information in. I think that's there now. And it has to be in order. So let's just make sure they're in size order. So they are, well, they're not. They're not numerically. So they're not in size order. So, what should we say? I don't know. We're trying to word it. So we should say like 40 and 41 should be in size order. So it should be 4, line, 0 and 1. Okay. I think if you just commented that they're not in size order in general, I think you get it. I haven't actually looked at the mark scheme for this one. I really probably should. But we've picked out the mistakes. And what I'm going to do is just circle those. It's really clear what I was talking about. Okay, question 17. So, question 17, the light's gone off, that's what happens, isn't it, when you're still? Question 17 out of, I'm just looking, 27. We're well past halfway now. Okay, so past halfway, we're probably, I'm just trying to get the lights to come on, we're probably into the grade 3, grade 4 area. So I'm just going to have a quick count of the scores so far. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, 14, 17, 21, 23, 26, 32, 35, 38, 41. So I'm literally about halfway at 41, and we're saying if you get 44, then you're at a grade 4. So I'm probably on a normal exam in a normal year at grade 4 already, but we've got to try and get more and more and more. We've got to try and secure it. Okay. So the next bit is reflection, and this is, we're already on the higher paper now because they'll have something like this as well. Okay. So we've got to reflect this shape using this line. Okay. So x equals -1. So look at the x-axis. -1 is right there. So this is a line that goes straight down there. If you do what I just did there, go down with your pen to the right number, you know that you've got to go through this. Okay, so it's through the axis at -1. And now you've got that, you can reflect it. Oh, where's the trace? Should have been really organised. I'm running for tracing paper now. Okay, so, I mean, I don't always use tracing paper, to be honest. What I like to do is know that this is 1 square away from here, so I like to mark out the corners, knowing that they're 1 square away. But tracing paper is good because you can draw on your shape, draw on the line, reflect it by turning it over, and you know that's exactly where it's going to go. Okay, so you have to be technical with this one. You have to use a ruler, make sure it looks as accurate as possible. You don't have to shade it in, so don't spend 5 minutes shading things, just waste time. Okay, so that's the new shape. You can see that every point is equidistant to the line, so the line is bang in the middle of the whole thing. Okay, right, the next one, a reflection has been done. Okay, so usually it's like a vertical or a horizontal line, but that's not going to do the thing for us here. So there's 2 ways you can do it. You either can recognise where the line of reflection is, or you do this technique. So draw around both of them. This is just like using tracing paper. And then fold your tracing paper so these shapes are on top of each other. Just like that. Can you see that? So I've got them lined up. Okay. And then, just to make it clear, the crease, I'm just going to put my ruler on that crease, and I'm just going to draw a line. You don't have to do it this way, you can probably see it. Now I'm going to put it back, okay, and you can see the line of reflection. Okay, it's the natural diagonal. Okay, on the higher paper, students would know, or hopefully would know, that this line is called, excuse me, y equals x. Okay, so write down the equation of the line of reflection. This is y equals x. The natural diagonal is y equals x, and there is a reason. When x is 1, y is 1. When x is 2, y is 2, and so on. Okay, but just knowing that name line is good. That technique there is a nice little technique. Okay, and that's how you can use it effectively. Okay, what some people do, they don't do that method. They will draw lines between the points like this, and they'll mark halfway on these lines and draw a line through that. That's one way you can do it as well. So there's loads of options, and it does depend what your teacher's done, okay, or how they've gone with it, and a lot of that relates to how they've learnt it as well. Right, so that, if I've got everything right so far, I just got another 2, got 44. I'm guaranteeing with 44 you're going to get a grade 4. Okay, if you can hit 44, you're going to get a grade 4. But we cannot be complacent. Imagine if everybody in the country did really well, then 44 might not be a guarantee. Okay, so we need to get more and more and more. But the more we get, the closer to a 5 we get. and the closer to a 5 you get, the closer to the old grade B you're going to get. So it's starting to really go well. And some of those colleges are expecting 5s, they're not expecting 4s. Some you need 4s, some you need 5s, just depends on what you're doing. So, or 6s, and you won't be doing this paper if it was 6. So, a number of students go on a coach trip. They're hiring a coach that is £180, and the school's going to pay 80% of that. So let me just do that now. So school is going to pay 80% of 180. So I'm going to have to figure that out. So I can do 50%, and I can do 10%, and I can do 20%. Just depends how you want to do it. So 50% is half of that. 10% is that divided by 10. 20% would be double 10%, so that'd be 36. So I can add these together. You could do 10% 3 times. You do what you need to, okay? Or you could do 20% and take it away from 100%. It's up to you. Okay, so I've got 0, 8, and 6 is 14. That's 10, 13, so that's 14 again. Okay, so we have £144. So let me just double check that, because it really matters, because I'm going to use that in a minute. 14, 10, 3, 14, so it's 144. So we know that that is 80%. Okay, of 180. The rest of the cost is paid by the student. So let me figure that out. So 180 take away 144. I'm going to regroup that or borrow from there. So £36 is going to be paid by the students. Okay, that's what they've got to pay. Every student is going to pay £1.50. Work out how many students are going to go. So if £1.50 is going to pay off £36, we know that if we find how many £1.50 is going to £36, we know how many students are going to go. So we've got to do 36 divided by £1.50. Okay. So there are different options. Okay, you can divide by a decimal. Okay, or divide by 15, or you can do it in partitions. You can group it, whatever you want. So I'm going to try the grouping way just to get you to think about it. So £1.50, if I had 10 students, would be £15. Okay. So if I did that twice, that would be 20 students so far, and that would be for £30. That's what I've got so far. That leaves £6. And if I divide 6 by £1.50, you've got £1.50, £3, £4.50, and 6, that would be an extra 4. So it would be 24 students. The technical way, if you just actually did a divide, you could divide by £1.50 or 1.5, so we'd change that to 360 divided by 15, and then we could do 360 divided by 15. 15 does not go into 3, so 0 carry 3. 15 goes into 36 twice, remainder 6. 15 goes into 60 4 times, so it would be 24. So that's the calculation way, that's the way of doing it that way, where you just do a basic divide, a normal divide. This is the logical way of chunking it and thinking what numbers make up 36 and 150. So that takes us up to 48 marks now. So that's what I'm just keeping the total there, 48 marks. I'm saying if you can get 56, then you're likely to get a grade 5. So I'm looking for another 8 marks, and I'm going to be at grade 5. So I'm going to go for it now. I'm really going to go for it. I've got quite a lot of questions to go, and not all of them have been problem solving. So a lot of these questions are going to start to become problems that I have to solve, because that's what they say. At least a quarter of the questions are going to be problem solving like that. And if we look at question 19, here is an example. Okay, so Peter has 4 photos. Each photo is in the shape of a rectangle, 12 centimeters by 8 centimeters. So that's what they look like. Peter is going to enlarge each photo by a scale factor of 1.5. He wants to put all 4. He wants to put all 4 photos in a picture frame. So this is a big picture frame. Let's put all the photos in here. Okay, shown below. The dimensions of the outside of the picture frame are 40 centimeters and 26 centimeters. Just remind you of that. Okay, and the width of each photo frame is 2 centimeters. Okay. Can the enlarged photos be put into the picture frame so they do not overlap? So can we put 4 pictures into this like that, so they're all nicely lined in and they're not overlapping. So that's the question. Okay, so the first thing to deal with is these pictures are going to be enlarged by a scale factor of 1.5. If these were enlarged by a scale factor of 2, they'd be twice as big. So that would become 24 and that would become 8. But they're not, they're going to be enlarged by 1.5. It's going to be 1.5 times bigger. So let's just have a look at what that looks like. So if I multiply by 1, it'd be 12. So 1.5 is 12 and a half more. So half of 12 is 6. So that length would be 18. So that's that multiplied by 1.5. Same for 8. 8 times by 1 is 8. 1.5 would be 1, the 8, and a half more, so and 4 more. So that would be 12. So that's the new picture size. That's what it's going to be. So I know that I can't fit many 18s going that way. I know it's got to be portrait this way up. Okay. So then I'm going to try and fit 4 of these in. So if I put, if I put 18 here, well, that's going to fit. Even if this little bit here was 2. If I take 2 from both ends of 26, I've got 22. Because 26 take away 4 is 22. So that's 22 centimetres that way. And this is 18 that way. So in terms of the height of the photos, they're definitely going to fit that way. But now we need to see if they're going to fit widthways. Okay. So we've got 12. And we want it to go in 4 times. So 12, 12, 12, 12. We know that 12 times 4 is 48 centimetres. Okay. Now, we already know that this is 40, this is 48 centimetres. Without even taking into account the widths of the frame, they're not going to fit. Okay, so it says, are they going to fit? We've got to see if they overlap. You must show the answer. Okay, Can the 4 enlarged photos be put in the picture frame so they do not overlap? No, they cannot fit. So I've got to respond. Okay. So I've got to answer that bit. Can they? No. And this is all the justification. Okay. So I could say about how much more wide they are, but I don't need to. That'll do it. Okay, this question is a tale of 2 parts. We're going to do the top first. So when we multiply, powers add. So that's 3 to the power of 9. And then we've got to divide that by 3 to the power of 2. When we divide, the powers take away. So it's 3 to the power of 7. Nice and straightforward, 92 marks. This one depends on your memory. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. And anything, well, so that's that bit. There's easy 3 marks there. Okay. The next bit, negative power. So I'm going to try and zoom in on this. So it's got a negative. Okay. The negative means 1 over. So it's 1 over 3 squared. So for a different example, a to the power of minus 3, it doesn't matter, means 1 over a cubed. So because ours is values, we're going to have to work out the value and we have to square that. So it's 1 over 9. Okay, so that's kind of a new introduction to the foundation. That wasn't on the foundation in the past, but it is now. But it's easy to deal with. Okay, but it's just another rule to learn, which makes the whole thing bigger to remember. So it's hard. Right, so that takes me to 52. 56. Now 56 is what I'm saying is the boundary for a grade 5. It wasn't that last year, it was lower than that per paper, but we're at a grade 5 already. I'm going to have to stop because you guys, you literally 11x4, you're coming now into the room, you've got your exam to finish. Okay, so I'm going to pick this up later. But we've got these really functional questions. These are the problem solving ones, just like that photo frame one, where we have to use a combination of techniques, okay, and a bit of logic to come up. Well, actually, number 24, that's the simultaneous equation. You either can remember that or you can't. 26 is a bit weird. And 27, they're just making every term ridiculous. So we'll get to that when we get to that. So I'll do another video later on, and I'll upload them to YouTube. Right.